When we return to our planet, the High Court may well sentence you to torture.
He likes movies, we like movies. Septum Sin versus the Wild. Septum Sin versus the Wild. Septum Sin versus the Wild. Septum Sin versus the world.
I'd buy that for $1.
Greetings! You're watching Septum Sen vs. the World. I'm Septum Sen, I'm here with Kotobuki Jake, and we're here to show you what they got. Of course, this week we have... Let me get this down here a little bit. There we go. Metal! In any case, we got some fun stuff. We don't have a lot of Gundam this week. But we do have a lot of stuff, including a few things that showed up on our... There we go. A little bit closer to the microphone there. And a few things that actually showed up on our radar for this coming Tuesday. My usual source did not have these up last week.
They failed us.
I'm gonna drink your blood like cranberry sauce, Mimi!
So we split them up, and they're going to be the ones leading us off. But they're included in the slideshow, so take a look at what they got.
Yeah, let's go. I'ma make a couple stacks, do exactly what I want to. Mix a couple tracks, get a lady that I'm drawn to. Turn up to the max, get me faded till I'm gone, dude. I do what I want, couldn't stop me if you wanted to. I just work hard, yeah, harder than the rest. Some people say I'm lucky, others saying that I'm blessed. But I keep my head down, cause I crave progress. You ain't never gonna stop me, cause it's my conquest. And I'm never gonna rest, yeah. And y'all don't know that I'm a soldier. I always felt like I'm alone, yeah. When everybody thinks they know, yeah. And y'all don't even know I own, yeah. And now I'm ready taking over. Cause every day I'm getting closer. Just look at everything I'll show ya. And now I'm ready, I'ma blow up. Yeah. I never grow up. I keep working to the point I throw up. And if you cross me, it was good to know ya. I'm impatient, I don't ever slow up. I stay young, no, I never grow up. I keep working to the point I throw up. And if you cross me, it was good to know ya. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm not the type to take no for an answer. I don't deal with people that are like a cancer. No, instead I hang with the people that enhance ya. And I'm not the type to give out second chances. I just wanna work on my own for myself. I don't need no help, not anybody else. Nah, man, I got it dealt. I'm working on my wealth and I'm working on my health. Keep on working to excel, cause I'm working on myself. Yeah, and y'all don't know that I'm a soldier. I always felt like I'm alone, yeah. When everybody thinks they know, yeah. And y'all don't even know.
So, this week we have a number of, well, films, and of course, two major things going on with our releases. Mainly, remember we were talking about Batman getting 4K last week? Well, this time we have Toy Story number 1, Toy Story number 2, and Toy Story number 3.
Yes.
All releasing in 4K.
These are the Pixar Toy Story, which is a little different from the Warner Brothers Toy Story we talked about last week, which was more of a shameless money grab. But
Yeah, and definitely not Tolstoy.
No, not Toy Story. No.
But these are films that, of course, are well known. I mean, I have a couple of them on my own. I've got the 3 of them, but they're on the DVD.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the original DVD release for Toy Story 1, which, by the way, put Pixar on the map. Toy Story 2 in its nice, fancy, shiny case. And you can tell that Blu-ray was definitely taking over, because this is the DVD release for Toy Story 3, the Oscar winner. Now, you can tell these 2 pretty hefty special editions. This one, not so much. But it does include Day and Night, which is all I really cared about in the first place, but the special feature was the short film.
Right.
And it is probably my favorite of the short films. But I'm curious as to how those go. I mean, let's see here. This one does, I think, have one of the animated features. But I don't know which one. It doesn't say on here.
Doesn't it? Well, that's kind of silly.
But might not. I don't know. Of
There
course,
should
this
be
has
one.
Day and Night. And Toy Story 2 has... I know that the Toy Story 2 does.
You mean Toy Story?
It must be under and much more.
Yeah.
Because I know that Toy Story... Toy Story I thought would have it. And definitely Toy Story 2 should have it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no. They have the Cars short film.
Really? Oh, yeah. Good times.
So, fun stuff. And I'm sure that they will look marvelous on 4K. Well, at least the last one will.
And of course, right after I completed the series on Blu-ray, but not that I matter, or I don't really have a 4K TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've watched the first 2 on Blu-ray, and they do look excellent. I cannot remember what... I think I only saw the third one in theaters, or... I can't remember if I've seen it on a home system yet. I really can't remember.
I know I have.
Whatever. So maybe I watched your copy. I don't know. At any rate, the other one, which somehow they neglected to include last week, which seems like par for the course for this movie, actually, is the new film from Terry Gilliam, The Man Who Killed Don Quixote. And there's a picture right there. I actually did get to see this during its limited run this spring. It's a very intriguing film, very strange. It's a movie Gilliam literally spent more than 25 years making, and much of which was covered in this film, Lost in La Mancha, which I still need to see. But the original film was going to have Johnny Depp and John Rochefort in the roles that eventually ended up going to Adam Driver and Jonathan Pryce. And the film also features Stellan Skarsgård and there were a couple other pretty big names, not huge, And then of course Gilliam himself, definitely present. You feel his presence in his films. Not as much at the beginning of this one, but by the end it gets into the typical Gilliam weirdness. But it's very intriguing about a hotshot filmmaker. Is become pretty successful. He's in Spain filming a new movie, and Skarsgård plays his very cold-blooded producer, and Driver, of course, is the filmmaker. And he realizes, wait a minute, I'm like over the hill and a couple of miles from where I made my first film when I was still a student. And he gets this wave of nostalgia and goes back to the village, only to find out that, yes, he did leave an impression on that village, and it was not what he had expected. And the man, Jonathan Pryce, who had played Don Quixote, now believes he is Don Quixote de la Mancha and is giving tours as Don Quixote. And the Dulcinea, the woman, the woman of his eye or whatever, was a barkeep's daughter, And now the barkeeper's like, yes, she moved to town. She's just a hoe now. And then you can find out that that's not the whole story. It's a really intriguing movie. It's really fun. I would have liked more given how long the movie was in production. And I feel so bad for Terry Gilliam. He seems to be the worst hard luck case in Hollywood. It seems like no movie he does goes smoothly. But, and again, here we go. We try to give these announcements, and his source didn't even list the movie. But, but it is coming
out tomorrow.
And by the way, I do apologize. Bad allergies. I'm going to have to keep it shorter for the rest of this, so...
Well, the good thing is that one's the one that really bears the most talking.
Right, for the most part, yeah.
Now, one that I'm going to be talking at length about, Leprechaun Returns. Well, not really at length. I thought that the original Leprechaun movies were entertaining. The Leprechaun Origins was okay. And Leprechaun Returns looks like it's trying to go back to form, because Leprechaun Origins was more of a standard horror film. And I'm not sure. I mean, I can only guess on what people say. It looks like it's going back to form, but I'd have to see it.
So is this a new film?
It's a new film.
Oh, wow.
Well, relatively so. I mean, it came out in theaters not too long ago. I don't know. It's sort of a reboot in a way of the series.
Reboot?
Reboot. So, I want to see it. I can't afford anything right now. I don't have any money. So even this, I'm hoping that it stays up for a while so I can get a hold of A Man Who Killed Don Quixote, and maybe eventually Leprechaun Returns when it goes to the $5 bin. There are actually several on here that I really want.
The thing that I find the greatest about the Leprechaun series is the first one starred Jennifer Aniston.
Yes.
I just love that. Alright, so speaking of quality, we're going to lead off. This week sees the release of a 8-film Fast and Furious collection. For you Fast and Furious fanatics that are somehow turning this into one of the most lucrative franchises ever, despite the fact that one of the leads has died. It feels like the franchise that'll never end. It's crazy. I have only seen the first film when I was in college and inebriated. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
One day.
For a while, a 7-film collection was at Big Lots for $5.
$5 for all 7?
Yeah.
Wow, that's not bad actually. Maybe you'll find this one.
Eventually.
Maybe
when the 9th film comes out.
No. Maybe the next batch of films that Dollar Tree puts out.
Yeah.
They'll have the 8-film collection. All right, but yeah, for you Fast and Furious nuts, this will be a good way to get it.
I'm waiting till the last film comes out, and then maybe.
So 20 years from now?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, now I'm more tempted to get the Transformers films because Michael Bay's done with them. But
the moment you buy it, you'll hear that he's decided to do another one.
Well, it's because they're what they are that I won't buy them. I mean, it's the good thing is I don't have to get all the Oscar nominees, so I'm not dedicated to buying any of them. Unfortunately, they seem to have had a couple of Oscar nominations.
Yes.
Speaking of Oscar-nominated films, Roger Corman's classic Piranha is getting a Steelbook release.
Yes. It gets that fancy music to go with it.
But, I'm not going to get it myself, but for those of you who are fans of the series, and James Cameron actually directed the sequel, Piranha 2, The Spawning.
I love that.
So, it's a quality series.
Oh, yeah.
So here's my copy of it. And it's got a little lenticular cover there. You see, look at the fishies there. It's like coming after the girl. Like, yay, fishy, 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 fishy. And it has a lot. Mine has a lot of special features, so it needs to be at least this good. Mm-hmm. It's not exactly one that I feel needs to be in 4K. Mm-hmm. But, it's pretty simplistic. Piranhas are in a lake that they probably shouldn't be in. And co-eds and stuff get eaten.
Well, that happens when piranhas are in the wrong lake. Yeah.
I mean, would you say that the average piranha would survive pretty well in the average North American lake?
There's a lot of people who think so. Piranha are banned in half the country for just that reason. And I believe some piranha actually could survive in the deep south.
Oh.
But I think we're too far north. But pacu have been found in Virginia lakes.
So you think? Do you think that they could be out there in Lake Placid with the giant?
Not for long, even without the crocodile. But at any rate, next one up is a movie that I know very little about, but I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot of people asking about it. It seems to be a very popular film right now. It's a movie called The Mustang. It's based on I think it's based on a true story, but it features Matthias Schoenaerts and Bruce Dern, so that's not a bad start with the cast. And that's really all I have to say about it, but like I said, it's one that's on my radar. It looks interesting.
That's all I got to say about that.
Exactly.
Well, I have one line to say, and that is that Jonny Quest thinks we're sellouts.
I'll bet he does.
And for those of you who get that reference, good on you. You listen to good music. Any case, the original Jonny Quest show, not the one that, that sold out, which has been the one that's been released on DVD. Now the original series is being released on DVD, which for last week, when we talked about Venture Brothers, this is one of the ones that it was chiefly modeled after in a lot of ways. So I saw a lot of it on Cartoon Network, the original, and it's okay. It's not on my list to get, but I can see why people might like it, especially if you got some nostalgia going.
I'd like to see it one of these days. I've heard so much about it.
It's not a terrible series. It's it's adventure with you got Jonny Quest. He's this way overly competent son of the scientist, and they got their bodyguard. Like I say, it's like a similar one that we were talking about earlier.
Although you kind of lose it a little bit at the competence thing. Is the scientist competent?
Yes.
Then yes, you definitely.
That's why it's a parody.
Although
of that
granted, I think it was season 3 or 2 where they introduced Rusty's twin, who is competent.
But yeah, if I was to, because what I've seen of the Venture Brothers, and I've seen a handful of episodes, and I've seen a lot of the Jonny Quest episodes. Yeah. They heavily borrowed from this particular show. I'm
sure they did. I have no doubt about it. I know Jonny Quest almost entirely by reputation, and I believe it. So, a show that I know mostly from reputation is a series Orange is the New Black. A prison drama series that is now, they are releasing their 6th season. Kind of strange. It's based on a book about this thick, and they're on 6 seasons.
And it's a Netflix series.
Yeah, it's one of the relatively few that's consistently been getting physical release. But they started out doing more physical releases, and I guess they just stuck with it.
If only they do it for the one that they had winning the Oscar. Or Icarus, the other one that they had winning the Oscars.
Yes. I still think if they do have an idea of doing it after a couple of years, that's one thing. But this is one of the few that's been getting it quickly. Yeah. And if you've been following the show, here's your chance to snap it up before Netflix changes their mind. I've been curious about it. I'm really curious. I just haven't gotten to it. But, yeah.
Speaking of unfortunate, Berserk has its complete series released. Mm-hmm. This series had some unfortunate issues. Yeah. I had been waiting for a Berserk series to come out for a long time. The original anime was the prequel to the main manga. I have been wanting to watch the actual like storyline of the main character. Essentially, the main character of Berserk hooks up with this Band of the Hawk and a mercenary troop, and they spend years together, and eventually he gets betrayed. Everybody dies. The girl he likes gets raped repeatedly, and is one of the only other survivors, and she's reduced to the mind of a child. So he is left alone in the world with a curse mark, which means demons are trying to kill him. And he wants revenge. Now, it stops basically where he gets betrayed and screwed over. The same thing with the 3 movies. This series was supposed to start up with the other, but they made some very unfortunate choices in the animation department.
Yeah.
It's all that kind of cel-shaded CG animation.
Ah.
And it really doesn't look very good. It looks almost terrible.
Huh.
And I don't know. It's just one of those things.
Yeah.
But that's what you get for cheaping out.
Yeah. That sounds like such a cheerful show.
It is.
Now, one that I've heard is a pretty fun show that I'm curious about. We've got a 2nd season release this week from a show called Hazuki's Coolheadedness. I know very little about this show except that it's supposed to be strange. And I've seen something of the art style, and it's a very unique art style. That's all I have to say on that. It's on my radar. I'll get to it one of these days.
I have season 1, but I haven't seen it.
I don't remember if I have season 1. I think I do.
Because it was cheap when
I think it was on one of those Sentai sales.
Yeah. Which is probably how I'll get season 2 eventually.
Right.
Next one up is one I own, but they're getting a Blu-ray release for Evil Bong 666. Now, I could have sworn they had a Blu-ray release already. And you can see it right here. I've got my original copy from Kickstarter, which is signed by the director.
Nice.
And Evil Bong 666 isn't terrible. It introduced the Gingerweed Man, which apparently whatever was mellowing Ginger Dead Man out kind of wore off. And it focused on Bud Bundy ruling hell. It's not really Bud Bundy, but the guy who plays him looks a lot like how he looked when Bud was in Married with Children. So, it's an okay movie. They're a guilty pleasure of mine. They're on the 7th film, which this was structurally more sound, but 7 was more entertaining.
Structurally sound is a phrase that I use with trepidation with most of that series.
Well, you see, High Five, which was just them sitting in the store the whole time, and Ebi, who is the evil Bong, by the way, telling them you need to sell stuff, so they keep screwing up on their sales. Eventually, this girl here ends up finally breaking into sexy hell, which is what she wanted the whole time. And now she wants revenge for apparently going by herself to sexy hell. I don't know what she really wants revenge on, and is trying to get back. And so she has to enter. She has to leave through a vagina portal. But
Such lovely children's programming.
It is.
Well, I've seen the first 3 Evil Bongs. The first one was great. It was horrible, but it was great.
They were first 3 were tolerable, but after the 3rd one, it was just aimlessness and boobs.
I still think the 2nd one was pretty darn aimless too. But anyway, so a movie that might bring to mind bongs and parties and sexy hell and whatever would be a movie starring Lindsay Lohan, right? But actually one of the very few films that she made that was universally praised was Mean Girls. which also introduced us to, well, more or less introduced us to Rachel McAdams, who's gone on to become a big star since then. Also, a kind of a high water mark on Tina Fey's career. I've been watching a lot of 30 Rock, and this was definitely more entertaining than 30 Rock in general. Lowen is unfortunately one of the biggest cautionary tales in Hollywood history. Very talented and ruined it. But this film is good. And apparently, according to him, this week's release is the first Blu-ray release it's gotten.
At least that I know of.
That seems very strange.
There's no other listings on Amazon for Blu-ray for this.
Seems very strange to me, but it is a film that might benefit from a Blu-ray upgrade. I certainly wouldn't mind having smaller space in my collection. If you've not seen the film, I do recommend it. It is a very fun movie. It does feature... It's one of those ones that's a Saturday Night Live tinged movie, but it's not full Saturday Night Live. You know, it's written by and co-stars Tina Fey, produced by Lorne Michaels. Tim Meadows plays the principal, but it's its own thing, and it's pretty fun. So,
it's completely fetch.
Yeah, that.
I'm gonna make it happen. I'm gonna make fetch happen.
You do that.
Yeah. All right. Well, any case, one that I actually have an Amazon gift card that was a Easter gift, and I might have to use it because I cannot afford this otherwise. There's really two type things that are coming out this month that I really like to get. One more than the other, but I know I don't have enough to get the one. But I know I have enough to get this one, and that is Naruto Shippuden Set 38. Now, what's special about Set 38, you might ask? It is the end of Naruto Shippuden. It goes out to 500, and it is done.
And then you can start collecting Boruto.
Oh, gosh. Well, that's already had its first volume release.
Right.
Oh, it's going to keep going. Then he's going to have a son, and they'll start a series on him. And it'll just keep moving and cycling, you know?
Right.
I don't know. Sometimes it makes me regret getting into the series in the first place.
Now, let's see. They'll probably randomly pick a character to shift it over to or something. Maybe shift it over to Shino's family or something.
Well, there is a Rock Lee Chibi series.
There is that.
I wish that would have gotten released. That one's not... It's on Hulu, but I wish it would have gotten released on...
Right.
There. It's an entertaining little series.
I need to see that. Okay. Speaking of entertaining series, one that I was very, very entertained by season 1, and I'm waiting to get back into it once I get to an appropriate point in Arrow, is The Flash, which season 5 comes out. So that's cool. If you've not seen it yet, Flash is very well worth watching. If you have not picked it up, obviously you want to pick it up before season 5. If you've been collecting like I have, and I believe you have, we'll have to get this one. We're probably both getting it on Black Friday.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sure.
when I pick up. That's when I pick up my releases.
Right.
I'll probably save up enough to do my stock up, which I stock up on Big Bang, which will be my last time.
Yeah.
And a couple of the other shows, and I believe Arrow might be my last time too. Because I think that's last season, isn't it?
Well, 8 is the
one?
last season. Has that gotten a physical release yet?
I don't know. I know 6 has. I'm
Yeah,
wondering
so-
if 7's the one that's been released this year.
It probably is.
And it's hard for me
So
to
next
keep up
year
with
might
it.
be the last one for Arrow.
So that's that's kind of good. I can reduce things and get some completion out. Well, speaking of completion, for those of you who want to get Kamisama Kiss, we talked about season 2 not too long ago getting a cheapy release. So this one is getting an essentials release for season 1 right here, and that's kind of good. That's much cheaper than what I bought it for.
Yeah.
And it is a good series. It's by the creators of Fruit Basket. It's about this girl who becomes I think it's the Earth God or one of these things. She ends up inheriting the post. And a fox deity is helping to protect her from being basically cannibalized by other deities. In a way, it's got some similarities to other series like Natsume's Book of Friends or other type of ilk. It's a fun series and well worth a watch. Now I got a slightly toned down edition. This edition came with quite a few fun things. A comb. Matter of fact, you can see what came in the box. It's got like a tote bag, a fan. There's a comb in there. And also, it's got the Blu-ray and the DVD on there.
A very rare attempt from Funimation to do the kind of set Sentai does.
This is all you get from the other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Slightly more room saving.
Even smaller if you get the Blu-ray. Yes. So, my next one, speaking of saving some space, the recent Star Trek trilogy has gotten a trilogy release this upcoming week.
Lower that down and I'll show you. That's what it looks like.
There you go. And that, of course, contains Star Trek, Star Trek Into Darkness, and Star Trek Beyond.
As you can see, I haven't opened yet.
Yes. And which is notable as one of the movies absolutely reamed when Suicide Squad won an Oscar.
Well, you don't believe Suicide Squad deserved its Oscar?
Suicide Squad, no. No.
I should have got it for film editing.
No. No. It might have deserved an original song win. That's the only one I'll give it.
It got makeup, didn't it?
It won makeup. But I'm sorry, but I mean, this character here, I thought she looked really great, and the makeup in general in this series is top notch. It's one of the stronger things they had. And this, of course, I think was notable, if I remember correctly. I think this is the film that came out right after Anton Yelchin died, who, of course, was the one that, which was very unfortunate, of course. He was way too young. But this is a good series. I know Star Trek purists hate it. I am not a Star Trek purist. I think it's a good, fun action series. And, yeah, I might consider trying to condense it, but I think I have I don't remember if I have all three. I know I have the first two. So, if I see the trilogy at Black Friday for $8, I'll probably get it. $5, I will get it.
I used to have the original one on DVD, but this one, even though it says $19.99, I got this really cheap. I think I got for $5 or something. I
might even have that on DVD. I know I have Into the Darkness on DVD on Blu-ray.
So I know we wanted to see this one really bad.
Yeah.
So there, and this one I just kind of got pretty cheap. So yeah, no. Yeah. Now, last but not least, for me,
we saved our big ones,
is something that's kind of cool to get a re-release. I am surprised that they didn't package all three in here, but Ghostbusters is hitting a 35th anniversary.
Yeah.
There are actually several really cool things that are coming out. The Ghostbusters video game, I think it was a 2008 video game, is coming back to consoles. It's getting a release on current consoles. It is repeatedly put out by the writers of it and by the main stars who did the voice acting. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, they all came back to do the voice acting of that. It's frequently regarded as the unofficial third movie of the series.
So yeah, that should have been part of the set.
So there's going to be, of course, a Ghostbusters 1 and 2 35th Anniversary Steelbook. Of course, on top of that, they're filming a new Ghostbusters, which is another reboot, in a sense, more of a sequel to the originals than a reboot, which is good news or bad news depending on who you ask. There's a lot of, there's a lot of cool stuff about it. I like that they're going back to practical effects. There's some good news about some of the cast. and the writing and directing sounds good. But I admit it does not have the Melissa McCarthy and all the others that were in the previous reiteration.
I'm going to miss Chris Hemsworth.
And Chris Hemsworth, yeah, he really stole the show on that one. And but I don't know. It could be a crap show. I'm curious about it. The 2016 was an okay movie that got more hate than it deserved and got more love than it deserved. It should have just been. It should have just got okay. It was an okay movie.
The thing that has me most excited about this one is that the original director, Ivan Reitman, is producing, and his son, Jason, is directing.
Yes.
And I think it's the first time they've worked directly together in this capacity, so it'll be really cool to see.
See, now, I won't be getting that, even though I'm very tempted, because I do have the 2016 Ghostbusters in Steelbook, but I have this really nice set, Blu-ray set. I mean, it really is a nice set. It's got tons of special features.
It is a cool set.
So, I don't know. I think I'm going to keep this one.
I think I have Ghostbusters on Blu-ray already, but I don't think I have the second one, and I love me some Steelbooks, so...
I'm sure it'll go on sale. I mean, if it's a widely known
if it's still
release,
around.
Because this doesn't look like it'd be a Best Buy exclusive. I think it's just a regular... Because you can find it on Amazon, so yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. So, my last big one. Speaking of movies, I'd love to get the Steelbook, but I probably won't because of the mouse. Is Captain Marvel is coming out. Yay. I did not order it through Disney Movie Club because $30 seemed a bit steep. I will be getting it probably for Black Friday if I get a good price on it. But Captain Marvel is a very excellent film that is not the peak of what Marvel has offered us, but it's still a fun movie. Very, very 90s. They did a very good job of making sure we knew it was in the 90s. And it was very interesting. The de-aging CGI they used, particularly for Sam Jackson and Clark Gregg, worked, but it worries me that this may be a new thing from here on out. It really worries me. And I mean, I'll admit, you can't have anyone but Sam Jackson play Sam Jackson. This just wouldn't feel right. But it's just, I worry that this may cost a lot of actors their jobs, because if you can have the same person play the same character all through their life, you know, that seems, I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be the entire, because a lot of these people don't want to play the parts anymore.
Right.
But of course, then they just change out characters with a different one.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, in general, this is going to, especially with these big tentpole films, if it's mostly limited to the tentpole films and most films go the old-fashioned route, I could see that working a little better. But at any rate, nitpicking aside, Captain Marvel was a lot of fun. It did introduce us to Goose, who's like the best character yet in the Marvel franchise.
Strongest of all the Marvel characters.
Yes, he is the most badass Marvel character. And it was kind of a weak setup for Endgame, and they didn't utilize Marvel herself very well in Endgame. So that kind of fizzled a bit, but it was a good start to its own franchise, and I look forward to see where it goes from here. But for those of you who have been chomping at the bit to get the film, and I'm sure some of you have been, here you go. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's it for this time, and I hope you enjoyed our little run-through. And, of course, if you like our channel, please like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you on the next one.
Goodbye.